Onward, warriors, and fear not pain or death. Go on.
Alright, back in.
I'll follow when our reinforcements arrive.
Yeah, back in again. Let's go. Don't think I've got too many stories about this level. I know this was one of the ones where this was like way back in. I'm gonna drop off the Spectre. I want the bloody hell. So go off. As I was saying, this was one of the ones way back in the day where I was I actually got stuck on this one. I can point out to the bit because I couldn't find precisely where to go because I don't know, I just didn't like see the hole I had to walk through. You can get out. No, I don't want to ride. Let me drive. I do not trust you with any form of vehicle. You can get in the side seat. There we go. Yes, it's the Spectre. A vehicle which never returned in the franchise. Do you want to get on, or...?
Leave room for me.
There we go. Two people now. Yeah, it never came back in the franchise. It was kind of replaced in 3 by the... the Prowler, which is the brute 4-seater. Which for ages, none of us realised was actually a 4-seater. We'd seen like the AI use it in campaign, but we, for ages, didn't figure out how to actually get on the sides, because you have to stand in a very specific place. We were just sort of thought, oh, it's an AI only thing. Same way that for a long time you could only get on, like you couldn't get on the side of the tank. For at least 2 and 3. I think you could do it in ODST. But that was something which was only a Halo 1. There we go. Here we go. Come on, you can hit it the side. I know there's a tank around there somewhere which might be worth stealing. If need be, we've got a warthog we can use. There we go. Come back to that if we need it. And there's, I think there's something like flood water as well. Oh boy, that's the tank. Shoot over it. I might be able to steal it actually, so that's going to be quite useful. There we go. This is going to help big time. And then the AI can continue using the Spectre. I've now got a more fun vehicle. You getting on, mate? Yeah, you are. There we go. I forgot how slow this thing is in 2. It's so slow. It's sped up considerably in like the later ones. I think 1 as well, it's also pretty fast. Then it's Halo 1, so the vehicle controls are arse. Put it nicely. Come on. As well. Yeah, a few little timestamps. They've just added, literally just added in crossplay for Halo 4. Like I finished downloading the update last night. I was going to record this yesterday, but the update was like 40 gigabytes, and I did not want to sit and wait that long. So I just digged around on some of the stuff that's planned. I'm doing this now because I am out of footage. Yeah, I don't think. What was the last thing we heard about Infinite when I was talking to you guys? I think since then they revealed the controversial coatings, I think the system's called, which replaces the old color scheme. So people reckon it's going to be like how shaders work in Destiny, where you basically have like a fixed color scheme, and it just gets like applied in like a fixed pattern, which is annoying. Not to me, it's not the biggest deal. It's annoying, but I really would want to see how it's implemented because I've not looked at much about it. But it could just be that the coating just refers to like the actual like pattern. So, for example, if like you're like me and you've got your primary color is red and your secondary is usually like a sort of steel. It's usually steel in my case. Usually how it would be, like in Halo 3 for example, most of the Spartan is, your base colours for my case, that would be red, and then usually the shoulder pads are the secondary colour, so in my case the shoulders are steel. I don't know if it's going to be the case, and like how I think how the shaders usually work is it's more like a sort of fixed pattern. So it would make like, say, like rather than have the shoulders that colour, like the legs would be that colour, or something similar, or it might be like forearms, etc., or it might be like sort of stripes around the torso, you know, various different like fixed patterns. Although because I've not seen much about it, it could just be that the coating is what pattern it is, and you get to pick the colours, which is what I hope it is. But it could just as well be like it comes with fixed colours and a fixed pattern, which is annoying, but it's probably something that's going to, because it's going to go, well, the multiplayer is going to be free to play. This is going to be it's going to go in the, whatever the battle pass thing is inevitably going to be called. I'm not too bothered by that, because it means I don't have to pay for map updates. Which I'm quite happy with. It means I can spend my money on, you know, new games. Stuff I'm more interested in, like, I get to play, I get more of a variety of stuff really, rather than I keep having to shell out for additions, even to games I love. But it's going to be. Go. Goodbye. No. Take this one out. And a tree. Can't hit it from there. Yeah, it's annoying. I think that what else they announced? I know they've. I think the director's changed, which is like the director like left after the not particularly exciting showcase that they had. But I'm pretty sure he's been replaced by. I forgot his first name. His last name I think is Staten. He was one of the top guys on 1, 2, and 3. Or at least I know he was at least on 3, and I think he was on at least 2 as well. But either way, he was one like during the peak time. He was one of the big. I think he was like the cutscene director, which kind of meant that because of how Bungie just sort of did whatever, they didn't really have like a specific thing in mind. It meant he was one of the top people for like the narrative stuff. Because like whoever was in charge of the cutscenes was pretty much determined whatever the narrative happened to be. Like because of their they didn't have like a fixed plan. They just think, oh, this would be cool, this fits. Rather than having like a dedicated story they wanted to tell from the beginning. Right now here is where I got stuck. Way back when I was a wee little bab playing this for the first time. I'll demonstrate to you why in a minute. Probably because I'm probably going to be one of the ones that now that looking at it in hindsight, it is of course super fucking easy. Let's just we'll clear this area out. I can show you because we've got to get out of the vehicles anyway. Some more coming in, and another enforcer. I think I mentioned last time that there was meant to be like a really big flood form, called the Flood Juggernaut, which was what the enforcers were meant to be fighting, like what they were designed to fight. It's another one. Grief. Oh. Usually when they do that, that just means that your vehicle's going to explode. There we go. Might as well continue on foot now that I have to get out anyway. So, where we're supposed to head is through that hole over there, which I initially didn't actually find. Just looking at it in the old graphic, I think I just sort of wandered around. but I never actually saw that. Even though it's real fucking obvious. I am low on shotgun ammo. I've got a sentinel being. This should do the job. Fine, mostly flood and sentinels. There's a little it's a little oversight with the sentinels, which I can show you in a bit. I think it's either in this room or the next one of these. I can't remember if there's one or two. But we can find out. If they find the flood, maybe they can be able to see it already. Because it's one of the sentinels. Yeah, you can't see it, whichever one it is right now. One of the sentinels, because is actually armed with a needler. Because at the time, they were experimenting just like with different weapons with the sentinels. And of course, as you can see, the Enforcer has something which is very similar to the needler, except it's red. And it doesn't explode. So there is actually a sentinel in one of these areas that is equipped with a needler. Which is something like I said, they left it in by mistake. They didn't actually mean to. No, it's not you. Yeah, I'm a little rusty. I've not played Halo for a while. Oh, there's one of the terminals over there. I never actually... Last time I did all the terminals was in 3. I can't actually remember what any of them said. It's been a minute. Which one it is? Ow. I'm sure what killed me there. There's one of the sentinels behind me. Oh well, maybe it'll give us another chance to see this little guy. And there's my teammates. You gonna come on? Also, if you notice, the shield on the Enforcer is actually the marathon symbol. Because Bungie, of course, like to reuse their little logos and things. Am I for that? Oh, I'll use this for the minute. You just have a good look at what all the new cosmetic items for 3 is. Because I know they put the ones in from 4, which were originally they were listed as different guns. Because of course 4 has the loadout system, which is basically you sort of create a class. Whereas this has... Yeah, whereas of course before it was a weird arena shooter, was the only way I can describe it. Where everyone starts with the same gun. Oh, there it is! There it is! That's the one that just blew up, but as you can see, that's the needler that it just dropped. The only one in the entire franchise that's like that, because of course it was, like I said, it's an oversight. They didn't actually mean it to do that. Recharge, let's go. Yeah, in 4, the different weapons you could have, which you would, some of them you could, most of them you could unlock. I don't think there was that many, maybe 3 or 4, and I think it was for getting... So I can remember you picked, I think it was a rank thing, where you got to a certain rank, you could then unlock additional perks and armor pieces and weapons. But it would depend on what... It was like a sort of career path or something. And depending on which one you picked would change what it was you could unlock. So some of them, of course, you could get weapons skins. I can remember there was a yellow BR. I can't quite remember what else there was. I remember I'm pretty sure one of the guns being green, but I do not remember which one it was. Might have been the DMR, which was broken at the start of Halo 4. Then they patched it, and then everyone just went back to using the BR. But yeah, some of them were. I remember there were some DLC ones where they were like steampunk ones, but they were more or less they were just sort of like golden weapons with wood trim. Some of them looked quite cool. Like I was particularly fond of. I thought the Magnum with that skin looked really cool. Really cool. It had like the slide was black. The main body of the weapon was gold, and it had like wooden grips. And I have a soft spot for like ornate handguns. Not ones like that I love. You can tell it was back on Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I unfortunately missed out on getting the Agent one. It was called. It was the Renetti that was designed to look like the Samurai Edge from Resident Evil. I really, really wanted to get that, but I knew I was never going to play it enough to get it. I did, however, manage to get the... it was the... Stab. This isn't going to work. But I'm out of ammo. I need to find something else. Easy to do. Why invisible? Actually, no. There was a sentinel beam somewhere on the floor. There we go. That's what I want. Awkward. There we go. To use the worst sentinel beam. But yeah. So some of them were like the steampunk skins. As I was saying. One of them which I thought... they came in like... It was like the last piece of DLC. I've forgotten what the name of it was, but it had... I think it only had like 2 maps in it, and a bunch of skins. Like it had... Like one of the maps... Which was the map? It was... One of them was a remake of The Pit. Which was called Pitfall. And it was like... It was essentially The Pit, but like sandstorms had got in and it was all covered in sand. It looked pretty nice, actually. It had a couple of alterations to it, like in the... for those who know, the sword spawn room, that had it had a hatch in it, so you could drop down, and it had a grav lift leading into it from the floor below, which I'm presuming they added because the amount of that's a very defendable position because there's only really one way into that room. It's got think about it, it's a room with an entrance. It's a little square room, entrance on one side, and then a corridor that sort of runs round the room. You can like throw grenades in through some little windows into that central room, but nobody ever realised you could do that. But it meant that if you walked in there and you got the sword, there is very little anyone can do to get you out. You can effectively just sort of... There's no reason. If you stood there with a sword, there's no reason to leave. I mean, because it's where the sword spawns. So everyone would come in there to see if the sword had respawned, and then you would still be in there. And people would just keep wandering in, even though they know you're stood there with one of the best close-range weapons in the game. So the only way they're really going to get you out is if they go grab one of the shotguns, maybe dual-wield the Maudlers. Maybe use the, maybe they could flush you out with the rockets. You probably put one of them in through the window. But if you if the rocket guy comes around the corner and you sword lunge at them, you're quite likely to kill him and you can give him the blast yourself. But it's an equal trade. And then the rocket player then has to contend with not having the rockets anymore. So I suppose that's why they probably did it. So that means that you can't just sit in there with a sword and watch one entrance. And what was the other one that they released? It had like I think it's just the start of it's something they did in this release as well, where it had like a map gimmick where I can't even exactly describe the place of the map. It was sort of like a cove near the sea. And it had like 2 buildings in it. One of them was like a tower, the other one was a base. But on each one there was like a big red button. And if you shot that, it would electrify the tower. And it would drop the shields of everyone both the tower and the base had these buttons on them, and it would electrify the whole outside of the building. And anyone stood on it would be EMP'd, and they'd lose their shield. Which meant that you could very easily then pick people off with precision weapon fire, like the BR or the carbine or DMR, etc. I would like this Wraith. I believe there's also a tank, but if I punch this for a bit, it will eventually explode. Well, maybe it won't. There we go. Have the grenade. That'll live there. But I think there is a tank. Yes, there is. Which I would prefer to have, because then I get a direct fire weapon. But yeah, it was just those two maps, and I think for free they also added in the game type Ricochet, which was a kind of like it was another ball game where what you would do is you would pick up. Think of it as kind of like an assault, but the assault game type, where of course you pick up the bomb, take it to your opponent's base, plant it. For those who aren't familiar with Halo, think sort of like, kind of like Search and Destroy, but it's everyone's on. Like there's different permutations on it. Like there's one bomb solve where it is like Search and Destroy, but with respawns. There's the one where there's a neutral bomb, where there's one where both teams have to defend their base, and there's one bomb in the middle. So it's kind of similar to that, except that it's not a bomb. It's the ball. It's the odd ball, which is usually depicted as some form of skull. That has been since Halo 1, I think. Like in this case, I think it was more like sort of. It was an actual ball, but it had like a skull hologram in it. I'm going to go back in here where those things can't shoot me. I would if the fucking Gauss Hog wouldn't do that. Is it the Gauss Hog? No. There is a Gauss Hog somewhere in this area. Oh well. Oopsie. Well, I've managed to accidentally cancel out of my active camo. Oh, I should be recharged again in a minute. Doesn't take too long. There we go. Board. Punch the back off. And grenade. Give it that. Oh, good grief, one of them's got a rocket. Really? Really? Why not pushing me? But yeah, but you could like throw the ball. And I think you got points for running into your opponent's end zone. Ah, there's the Gauss Hog. There it goes. So either running it to your opponent's end zone, but you could get less points if you threw it. I think it was also some people like described it being a bit. It's probably inspired by Griff. Which of course is a reference to the old Red vs. Blue. I can't remember which season that was actually introduced in as a concept, but really, because I couldn't spin the gun around fast enough. Ah, give me a checkpoint here this time. Anything? I'm invisible. Yeah, I can't remember which season it was, but when they actually introduced Griffball, there of course wasn't a Griffball game type because it was back in Halo 2, and you couldn't make Griffball in that. They just used it because they thought it was a funny name. It was from the Sarge quote, which is, "This is the most fun I've had since Griffball." But then in Halo 3, they actually thought, hang on a minute, we can now actually make Griffball. It might have been a community thing, actually. Nah, that was back in the day. Old Rooster Teeth. Right, where are we? Okay, that Warthog's going to come around the corner in a minute. we go. I believe that's the Spec Ops Commander. He dropped off with the Shipmaster from Halo 3. In his, with a mate of his. Oh look, here he comes rising out again. He went off the edge there. Close. They're quite difficult to dodge, those shots, when you've got something this slow. Oh, that's a Gauss Hog. There we go. Is that the Gauss Hog? No, it's just a ghost. Sure, I don't remember killing it. Oh well, I can't exactly complain. But yeah, back in the day. But yeah, they've added in, as I was saying before I got sidetracked, they've added in like a whole bunch of new cosmetics into 3. And they've now let you customise your Spartan more in 4. Which is nice that that's finally in. They're putting cross-play with Xbox and PC, which is lovely. Because I've got a friend of mine who more or less just plays on PC. And he's now very happy that he can actually play with us while using his mouse. To be fair, I don't think it's too... usually with a lot of games, I'm a bit worried about there being input crossplay because the mouse is so much quicker to aim with. Like, I'm playing with the controller, or playing with the controller. I should probably actually like try learning the mouse at some point. Maybe will. I mean, I've got Game Pass Ultimate, so like technically I own this thing digitally anyway. So I guess regardless, I should have it on crossbuy. Which means I should have it on PC, and then I can see how well my computer can run it, because I might... I mean, most of these games are old. I mean, 4, which is the most recent game, and it's from 2012, and it's got, my PC's got a 1660 Super in it. So I could probably run it. It'll do at least 60. It's more powerful than this thing, and this thing will do 60. I've not got the I've not bought a PlayStation or an Xbox, PlayStation 5 or an Xbox, or the Sex box yet. I don't feel much, especially for the Xbox, because I've got this. Everything that's going to come on that is also going to come on this, and on PC, which I've got a reasonably decent one. So I don't feel the need to upgrade right now. So I'm pretty much just going to wait until there's like a sale on. Which usually happens, like, I think like January sales, somewhere around there, something like that. I mean, I got this, I think, what was it, the X-Bone came out in 2013? And I got this one in, I think, 2014. And I got it for like 200 quid. And it came with 2 controllers, MMC, and a copy of Evolve. So I got a pretty decent deal on all of that. You're probably going to do the same again. I think the same with the PS5. So I'd quite like to get the digital-only version of that. Because of course I don't have any PS4 discs, so I don't have any need for the disc drive. Whereas because I've got discs for the X-Bone, I'd quite like to be able to still use them.
On your way, Arbiter. I'll deal with these.
So I'll probably get the actual, like the Series X, like the full-sized one. That, and it's going to be, it's more powerful. Still to get a Switch though, still got one of them.
I see that tower didn't join you. I'll do what I can to keep the flood off your back.
Now for the gondola section.
The higher-ups do not look kind to your failure. I grow restless without a target.
Yeah, I don't know where these leads came from. You can start shooting at them, right? You can see them. There they come. Bunch of them, of course, just miss. Which is alright for me, because that's less of them to deal with. Damn. Wow, it's dark in this bit.
What courage?
Where are we? Here we are. Better sword. Slightly more ammo.
He'll alert them to our presence.
That would be good.
Maybe they'll shoot him down. How did you fare? I still have my...
Yeah, this bit's not the most interesting. It's just kill everyone that gets on here. Wait for you to get to the end of this tunnel.